Arai Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, whom moon teach well. This is Brother Yeshemai from the GMS Atlanta camp. I came across that video, and when I first came across it, it seemed like a nothing video, but then afterwards, there was two things that he said that really stuck out to me. So I figured I would do a quick video on it. The first thing was that he said that even if people sensed that you were homeless, he said they wanted nothing to do with you. And that's the time that we as Israelites, specifically the hopeful elect, are going to be coming into. All right, this is 2 Ezra 16 verse 7. He says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai." Because, this is going into Jacob's trouble. It's going into the mark of the beast. Sooner or later that time is coming, right? Because the scripture says that none shall want her mate. All these prophecies are going to pass. And one of those prophecies is the mark of the beast. And so, we're going to have to make that choice of whether we are going to be pierced with that digital oil, or we are going to completely come out of this place. And I say completely because now spiritually we have come out of this place, but through our day to day, we still we are users of the world, but not abusers of it. That's a rough paraphrase, but the point is that a time is coming where we're going to be outcasts, just like that man was. Since I mentioned it, this is Revelation 13 verse 16. It says, "And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Just that, this guy says that he was homeless because he got out of jail, but that's not the point here. The point here is that there's coming a time that we are going to be outcasts in the society, just like this man was. People are going to want nothing to do with us, because just as nowadays, we don't want anything to do with the homeless. Why? I mean, let's be honest. At one point or another, we have looked upon a homeless person and passed judgment and said, well, he probably deserves that. And that's not saying that's false, but the point that I'm trying to make here is that we at one point in our lives have also had the same feeling. We want nothing to do with these homeless people, and that's going to be us. That's what inspired to do this video, because I'm thinking, damn, dude got a shotgun pulled on him. Why? Because there's that stigma of being homeless that nobody wants to do with you. And that stigma is going to come upon us. All right? Because we, Yahweh Ratazah, or Lord's will, we reject that mark, and nobody wants anything to do with us. Verse 71, it says, "They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai." Not only are we going to be pilgrims, but people are going to be despising us, actively searching for us to try to either put us into a concentration camp, because the scriptures go into it, right? It says, "The devil shall cast some of you into prison." It's going into those concentration camps. It says, verse 72, it says, "For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses," as we just read in Revelations 13, that none might buy or sell save he had that mark. And so without having money, how are you going to pay rent? How are you going to get gas? How are you going to pay your cell phone bill? How are you going to get food? You're not going to be able to. Maybe if you got some food stored up for a couple days or a couple weeks, you might survive. But in the long run, we're going to be like pilgrims. Verse 73 says, "Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire." Because see, just as people don't want nothing to do with the homeless, hey, that's going to be our separation. Then shall they be known who are my chosen. All right? Because again, man, it's that homeless feeling. I know, people. I know brothers have gone through different things in their lives, and I mean, maybe people have come to a point where they were out on the streets, man. But Yahweh Shai has lifted us up, right? And hey, man, I was in a situation like that years ago where I had nothing to my name, and like nobody wanted to do anything. Like I freaking had no battery on my phone. Same thing actually, just like that guy. I asked to charge my cell phone, man, and nobody. I was asking people if I could use their cell phone, and I told them, I said, you don't even have to give me the cell phone. Just dial this number and put it on speakerphone, so that they wouldn't think that I was gonna run away with their phone or something like that. And they still didn't want to do it. Why? Because of that stigma, man. Oh, because of that stigma. Right? But look, there's hope. Let's get Zechariah 13:9. Let's get Zechariah 13:9. It says, and I will bring the third part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is my God. So even though we have to go through Jacob's trouble, that's going to be the ultimate trying process. And Lord's will, we come out pure, because it is going to be a very difficult time, man. I mean, not only are we going to have to deal with being homeless, but, we're going to have to, see, our kids, our family members, going through it with us. Crying because they got no food or no formula or no diapers. Whatever it is, man, it's going to be a very, very difficult time. Let's get Jeremiah 30. And then I'm going to give one more precept, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Well, let's start at verse 6. It says, ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. The prophet saw a vision of men grasping their loins, meant great despair. Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And how are we going to be saved out of it? Well, because Scripture says, lift up a standard. I'm not the best at the memory. Lift up a standard. But right now we have these tools. It says, Isaiah 59, verse 19, it says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai shall lift up a standard against, because if we be of that 144,000, man, the Spirit is going to be with us. The Spirit is going to, not only save us from the missiles of destruction that are coming onto this place, but the Spirit is also going to feed us, just like Elijah was fed. He got fed that cake, and that filled him up for, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was about 30 days, man. So we have hope, and really, where does that hope come from? Well, first and foremost, Ephesians 1 and 4 goes into that, because first we have to be predestinated to be of that 144,000. But one telling feature, because the Scripture also says to put on as the elect. One telling feature is if we're calling upon Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, doing the best we can to abide by the statutes, the laws, and the commandments, man. That's what that's going into, So that's really the gist of it. I don't want to be too long, but these are the trying times that we are going to be coming into, man. The world is going to want nothing to do with us, and we're going to have to be as pilgrims. Matter of fact, I've quoted that many times. Pilgrims. Pilgrims. Is that how you spell it? Or is it pilgrims? Pilgrims. All my people hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth, man. Because, when that time comes, the Spirit is going to be upon us, and the Scripture says that we're going to be as pilgrims. Well, what does that mean? Well, a pilgrim is a nomadic person, somebody that goes from place to place, and that's going to be us. Why? Because we're going to have to hide ourselves, until salvation comes. So that's what that's going into, man. Hopefully this lesson has been edifying. We do have hope. Let's continue to stay in the faith, stay in the Scriptures, and pray that Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai lifts up that standard for us. Until the next one, Shalom.